I'm Jack Moore. I'm with West Roofing Systems, and I'd like to show you how we can save you some dollars utilizing the SRM system. A silicone restoration membrane, or an SRM, is an alternative to re-roofing. It has numerous benefits, including reducing material costs, it reduces labor expenses, and it also reduces the amount of landfill contributions since we don't have to tear off the existing roof. About a year ago, we had a customer who contacted us thinking they needed a roof replacement. Once we were able to survey the roof and understand that the conditions weren't as bad as the owner had initially thought, we were able to offer them an option of an SRM installation instead of a full roof replacement. We went ahead and proposed a full roof replacement to provide a baseline cost. We also gave them an option to install the SRM system. That SRM cost was 45% of the investment they would have had to make. Additionally, the owner was able to get a 15-year full system manufacturer's warranty for 45% of the initial cost, and the project was installed in about 30% the duration that the full replacement project would have taken. One of the primary reasons that an SRM saves the owner money is that the existing roof does not have to be completely removed. There may be spot areas that need to be removed, but overall, with the dry, sound condition, the existing roof can stay in place. So rather than spend the money to tear the existing insulation off, throw it in a dumpster, and then pay for somebody to haul that dumpster all the way to the landfill, you don't have to go through that expense. That process saves labor, saves landfill costs, and it also reduces the waste contributed to already overly burdened landfill space. Another benefit to an SRM system is that it is considered maintenance. Building codes allow for commercial facilities to have up to 2 roof assemblies on them. Once you get beyond 2, roof removal has to be performed. With the SRM system being qualified as a maintenance application, you don't have to do the roof removal process. That saves a significant amount of dollars. It's something that can be done year after year or decade after decade and doesn't contribute to adding more roofs, which would then require roof removal. So at a very low cost installation, you can continue to do the maintenance or the SRM installation over and over and over. Another benefit to the SRM installation is the speed of the installation. With traditional roofing methods requiring the existing roof to be removed, it's a very, very slow process. With the SRM system, the preparation is very quick. Generally, you're power washing, doing some seam repairs, and then you're installing a fluid applied coating. That installation is much more rapidly. Typically, it takes about 30% the time to do an SRM installation as it does a full roof replacement. So the disruptions to your facilities are significantly reduced. The contractors are in and out, and it's just an overall easier process to do an SRM than a full roof replacement. Another significant benefit to an SRM application, especially if you're using a bright white silicone coating, is the reduction in energy costs, that is. Through the Energy Star Cool Roof Rating System, installing a bright white coating application can reduce energy consumptions upwards of 15 to 35% depending on the type of structure and actually how much load is experienced by that facility. An existing roof system can be eligible for an SRM application basically if it's in better condition than most roofs you run into, contractors run into, when they're at the end of their serviceable lives. There's different grades. So a roof that has most of the seams of the existing membrane that are in fairly good condition, the field of the roof is still in fair condition. Obviously, minor deficiencies can be repaired still cost effectively, but in most situations, those roofs have had preventative maintenance performed on an annual basis, so they're in better condition than most roofs that have been just install it and forget it. The other qualifier is how much of the underlying insulation is wet. So generally you need to perform an infrared inspection to find out how much insulation underneath the waterproofing membrane is actually wet. Generally around 25% or less. It still is cost effective to go ahead and do spot removal rather than full roof replacement. So with small amounts here and there, the SRM is still a very valid application. Silicone restoration membrane is probably one of the contractor's favorite roofs to install. They're very easy from a standpoint of comparatively against a full replacement where you have to tear off and get dirty and sweaty and get into the weeds of a complete replacement on a daily basis. The first step is basically we want to power wash the roof clean, get all the debris off of the roof so that we can see all of the seams, all of the penetrations, all the flashing conditions, so that we can identify where repairs might need to be performed. After that roof is clean, we're able to do a comprehensive and detailed infrared survey. You know, those are performed in the evenings. The infrared camera picks up heat anomalies, so the saturated roof areas actually hold heat once the roof starts to cool in the evening, so we're able to identify that, mark those out on roofs. So once the infrared inspection is performed, we're going to go in and you're going to tear off those wet areas and replace them with like-kind materials. So if you're tearing out a polyiso insulation, you want to put a polyiso back in to the same elevation, patch that spot repair, and then reinforce that repair as well. After the saturation removal is performed, then we're going to go in, we're going to address all the seams. We're going to touch up any fasteners that might be loose. We're going to deal with penetration flashings, boot details, anything that looks like it could be susceptible to a leak in the next 10-15 years needs to be addressed, either adhered or reinforced, or additional sealants would be installed in those different details to ensure that waterproofing condition. After the primary repairs are performed, most manufacturers are going to require some sort of seam reinforcement application. So oftentimes the seam reinforcement will consist of about a 12-inch wide strip of a wet out coat of silicone installed, and then you'll embed a polyester mesh into that wet out coat. Generally it's about 12-inch wide polyester reinforcing mesh that's rolled out into that coating. That coating cures overnight, and then the next day you come back and you put another coating application directly over that seam. An alternate to the polyester reinforcing mesh embedded in wet out coating would be to use a butyl-backed or a self-adhering reinforced mesh that could be, the surface could be primed and cleaned. Then you roll that new self-adhering reinforcing mesh over the seam repair, and then you install that additional coating before the balance of the roofing is installed. The easiest part of the whole application comes down to installing that top coat or the actual silicone restoration membrane. Depending on the specification and manufacturer, most applications require 2 coats. Some technologies will allow for up to 30 to 35 mils of silicone installed in 1 coat application. That saves a significant amount of time, it saves a significant amount of dollars for the owner, but it also provides long-term warranties at the same time. So you're getting all the waterproofing characteristics out of that silicone restoration membrane and qualifying for the manufacturer's warranty. Once all the coating is installed, you're going to get a third party, or possibly the manufacturer's rep is going to come in and do a thorough analysis to make sure the millage is installed correctly, all the supporting repairs have been performed. Then the warranty is issued, and that warranty term is based on what the manufacturer's requirements are and what the owner was willing to pay for. 10, 15, and even upwards. I've seen 20-year warranties are available with an SRM application. So if you'd like to learn more about SRM applications, and if your facility qualifies for that, please look us up at westroofingsystems.com.